What's up, everybody? I got another video for y'all, and this time I'll be going back to Canadian politics for a bit, just because there's been some developments recently that I think I have to address, especially in the Canadian political realm. That I haven't really spoken about Canadian politics in a bit, but I will today. In this video, I'll be going over some of the poll numbers for the 2025 election that's slated to happen. I think October or November of 2025. It's one of those 2 months. And I'll just be going over some of the numbers, some of the predictions, and what I think will change in the months leading up to the election. So, if you guys didn't know already, Canada's political system is quite different from the US's. It's actually based on the number of seats you win. So, every riding is essentially the same as like a county, has its own constituency, and you have your own member of parliament. In order to vote that member of parliament in, you need the most votes to win. And whichever party has the most members of parliament voted in gets to govern. You can have a majority or you can have a minority. Minority means that you didn't pass a certain threshold. I think it's like I forgot what the exact amount is, but it's if you don't meet that amount, but you still have the most seats amongst everyone else. So that would mean you have a minority government. A majority government is when you exceed that threshold, and you have more than enough seats, and therefore you have essentially full control of the government. So you can basically pass anything you want. And currently, the Liberal government, Justin Trudeau's government, has a minority, but they are in power because they have essentially a coalition with the other party, who is pretty left leaning, called the New Democratic Party, so the NDP, and they're essentially allowing the Liberals to remain in power until 2025. So that's just some context if you didn't know Canadian politics, but without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, the threshold is 172 seats. So there's actually been some changes since the last time I've actually seen this. I think last time I saw this was actually 220 for Conservatives and about 60 for Liberals. So I don't really know what's changed, but yeah, especially Ontario. I mean, Ontario was almost like 100 Conservative seats, and it's kind of changed a lot. I'm kind of surprised by that. So I'll just be explaining what I think will happen on election day and the significance of each province, if you really look at it this way. So if we look at the actual poll numbers, popular vote, Conservatives are expected to win 41%. There's a 4% margin of error. Liberals are expected to win 25%, so 3% margin of error, or 3 points margin of error, my bad. And then NDP are expected to win 17%. So this is actually kind of surprising, because I remember last time Conservatives were almost at 45 and Liberals were down at 20. So they have actually gained quite a bit since the last time we've been looking at this. And if we look at this right here, the C projection, so 172 seats for majority. So Conservatives are expected to win, right here, they're expected to win a lot more so in the 220 to 229 range, I would say, probably. That's what they were expected to win a few months ago. So something's changed, and I'll bring up what I believe has changed since then. Before I do that, if we just look at the odds of winning the most seats, it's not even close. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. Like 99% chance that the Conservatives win, 1% Liberal, 1% NDP. NDP, it's less than 1%. It's not even close. But if you look at the odds of outcome, so 98% chance the Conservatives win a majority, and then 2% chance they win a minority. So unless something really drastic happens, it is pretty much a guaranteed Conservative win, thus putting Pierre Poilievre in the Prime Minister's office. And then, this is with a coalition. This is, if you look at all the scenarios, so there's another party called the Bloc Québécois. They're from Quebec, so they're more so like a Quebec-centered party. They really only look out for Quebec's interests, if we're really going to be honest. And we're looking at some scenarios if we combine the Liberals with some of these parties. So Liberals combined with the Green Party, obviously you guys know what the Green Party is. They just care about the environment, that's it. They could win 85 seats. This is a coalition. Liberals with the NDP would be 102. So that's a lot better for them. Liberals with NDP and Green would be 104, and the Liberals of Bloc Québécois would be 119. So again, there's no path for victory for them, but then again, this would be sort of like a last-minute resort if they really want to minimize their losses and keep the Conservatives in some sort of check. So if we do actually look here, I'm surprised this actually has changed. Yeah, so if we look here, we almost reached 45%. It was pretty high in May, and the Liberals were at a very low amount. So I don't really know what's changed. They're kind of going down recently. Liberals haven't really made much progress, but they are sort of going up a bit. And if we look here, since 2022, it was basically tied. So it's really surprising to see what's happened. Essentially, in 2 years, I mean, the Liberals have completely been demolished, if you really think about it, in the polls. And then the seat projections, yeah, okay, I was a bit wrong. Actually, no, they were almost at the 220s. Almost 220 here. Yeah, this is almost 220. So in May, this is sort of where they peaked. In May, I would say. That's when they sort of peaked. They were almost expected to win almost 220. So, again, I don't really know what's changed. Yeah, 220 exactly. And if we look here, Conservatives are at almost 45% in May. So, what's changed? Well, there's a lot of theories. Yeah, again, if we look at this one, odds to win the most seats, it's been pretty much like 99% chance the Conservatives are going to win. That's nearly impossible for the Liberals to win. Again, Conservative majority. So if we're looking at what's changed, I don't think the Liberals have made much headway, but I do think the Conservatives have lost some steam. And the reason why I say this is because the Conservatives, as someone who observes Canadian politics quite a bit, what the Conservatives have not been able to do is actually propose tangible policy solutions. So they keep attacking the Liberals, rightfully so, for some sort of for whatever policy they have, whether it's a carbon tax or whether it's the housing crisis, or whether it's the amount of foreign workers. They keep attacking them. Fair enough, but they don't seem to offer an alternative. They don't seem to expressly say what they're going to be doing if they are elected to power. So I think that's something that Canadians are sort of concerned about, and that we are kind of confused about. Like, yeah, okay, fine, you want to attack them, fair enough, that's politics, but what are you going to offer in return? That's something that they've been really lacking on, and I do think that kind of explains why they lost. I mean, they're projected to lose 17 seats versus what they were supposed to win. Now, I'm not saying this is a very small amount. This is obviously, almost 30 seats above a majority, more than 30. So it is more than enough that they needed. But if they had 220, that would have been a landslide. They would have wiped the floor, and the Liberals, quite frankly, would have gotten destroyed. But it doesn't seem as bad as it could have been. Now, what I do think will change also is I do think it'll get a lot closer. I think Conservatives will end up in sort of like the 38, maybe 36 to 38 range in terms of percentage, and I think the Liberals will climb up to the 30s eventually. The reason why I say this is because I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. I'll be making a separate, segment on that. That the Liberals actually implemented a 100% tariff on every Chinese-made electric vehicle that enters Canada, and they've also capped some of the foreign workers that are coming into Canada. They've made it a bit more difficult for them to come in. So I think now they're starting to realize, like, yeah, we're kind of screwed. We have 1 year essentially to turn things around, really change people's opinions, and try to win this election. Now, what I do think the Liberals would really benefit from is a leadership change. I don't think it'll happen realistically. I think Justin Trudeau is sort of in over his head, and I think he definitely wants to cling on to power. But I think that would be the smartest move that they could make in order to potentially win the next election. But let me know what you guys think. I'll probably make a map video soon, if you guys want to see that for Canadian politics. But it's very interesting to see how the Conservative momentum has sort of died off. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.